Hey everyone, my name is Harrison Henley, PDGA number 189294, and this is my in the bag for Team Trilogy for the 2022 season. Starting off with my putters, my overstable throwing putters, I have these two BT Hard Hearts. These are my go-to for forehand or backhand approaches. I really love to throw these things, and they have a little bit of ground play, but not too much. Next, I have these two Classic Blend Judges. These are definitely my go-to straight to understable throwing putters for any hole inside of 250 feet. Next, I have a Retro Pure. This is a very straight to slightly overstable putter for me. It is very good and feels very nice in my hand. And my putting putters for this season are these Classic Deputies. They are very shallow and they're beadless, so they feel very nice in my hand when I release. Next, we have my mid-ranges. I bag two EMAC Truths. One is Lucid Plastic, and I believe this is Biofusion Plastic. And they are both very flippy and feel incredible, and they just fly dead straight. Next, I have two Gatekeepers. One's a prototype Gatekeeper, and one's a 2019 Trilogy Challenge Gatekeeper. The prototype is overstable because it's a max weight Gatekeeper, and this one doesn't flip up very much at all. It flips up and then finishes hard to the left. And then the Tournament Gatekeeper, the Trilogy Challenge Gatekeeper, is one that's going to flip up the flat and ride to the right and then slightly finish to the left at the end of the flight. Next, I have a Biofusion Verdict. This is one that I can throw about anywhere between 275 and 315. And it's one that's going to flip up and it's going to ride straight and then it's going to crash hard to the left. Finally, for mid-ranges, I have this Board Flat Lucid Justice. This is mainly my forehand approach disc, but every now and then if I need it, I'll throw it on a slight bit of ante with the backhand and it'll just crash hard to the left. Next are my fairway drivers. First up, I have this 2021 Trilogy Challenge Sapphire, and this is a very far flying disc that I can throw on a little bit of hyzer, and it's gonna flip up the flat and ride to the right just a little bit and then come back left. Then I have a Lucid Escape. This one's still pretty new to me, so it's not beat in, so it's not very flippy, and it's pretty stable for an escape. Next, I have a Lucid Vandal with a Robbie C stamp on it, and this is one that is an extremely flippy disc. I can throw it on almost max hyzer and it's going to flip up and ride to the right. Next, I have a VIP Stag. This is the disc that is one of my main forehand discs. I love throwing this thing on a forehand with the 6 glide and the -1 turn. Really, I would say it's probably the -1.5, 2. It has a little bit more turn than you would think, and it's a very good disc to forehand for me. Next, I have this Metal Flake Explorer. This is a very fun disc to throw because it'll slightly flip up and then it'll just crash hard to the left. Finally, for fairway, I have this Opto River. This is a disc that if I'm about 300 and in from the pin and I want to and I'm dead straight and I want to just park it, this is a disc I'm going to throw on a little bit of hyzer and it's just going to fly dead straight and just sit right there where it throws. And finally, we have our distance drivers. The first one I throw is a Lucid Freedom. This one is a disc that I can throw on a forehand and it's going to flip up the flat and it's going to just hold that line until it barely finishes to the right at the end. Next, I have a First Run Raider. This is my go-to distance backhand, and this is one that, since it's the first run, it's a little bit more understable than a regular Raider, so it's going to ride a little bit more to the right and then finish to the left. Next, I have this Latitude 64 Gladiator. This is a very beat-in disc, so it flies a lot like the First Run Raider right now because of how beat in it is. And and I love throwing this thing. It's a tad bit slower, I believe. I'm not really sure the exact numbers on it, but it flies almost exactly like the First Run Raider. Next I have this Metal Flake Enforcer. This one is my go-to overstable distance driver that I know no matter how much torque I put on it, it is never going to flip up. It's never going to flip over. It may flip up to flat, but it's always going to finish to the left. Then I have this double stamp chest pass. This one's beat in enough to where it's going to be pretty understable. It flies like the Gladiator and the First Run Raider because it's still a trespass, so it's still going to have that reliable finish to the left, but it does flip up and ride to the right a little bit. And lastly, I have these two First Run Royal Graces. These, the Royal Grand plastic, if you haven't had the chance to get in your hands, you 100% need to. It is absolutely incredible. And I love to throw these things for max distance shots or for just a dead straight hole that has a slight finish to the left.